Hey everybody, this is Tim with Op-Ed Daily. I'm here to talk to you guys about California. If you're not aware, California is in trouble, and not because of police brutality or race riots or anything like that, or even earthquakes. They're in trouble because they're running out of water, and they're running out of water at an alarming rate. A year and a half is what experts are saying. That's probably panic mode response. Year and a half, I'd probably say more like 2 years, maybe three. Um, and everybody's going into blame mode. Oh, it's his fault. Oh, it's this person's fault. Oh, it's this person. No, it's everybody's fault. It's a systemic issue as well, and that's kind of what I want to talk about. So just bear with me and hear me out. If you disagree, feel free to suggest that and don't share it. But if you do agree, I would suggest sharing this because this message needs to be heard and it needs to be heard loud and clear. Um, for as long as I can remember, uh, oranges, tomatoes, lettuce, carrots, just about anything that you can grow vegetable wise has come out of California. But like you all know, California for the most part is a desert, and many of those things don't naturally grow in a desert. So how do they do that? Well, they divert water from other places to California and soak all of it up. There's also an aquifer, 20,000-year-old aquifer underneath California, and they've been just sucking it up at an alarming rate, faster than it can be replenished by snowfall, runoff, or rainfall. You know, uh, so basically, irrigation has brought California industrialized agriculture. And now let's look at the personal numbers. From the numbers I've seen, personal water usage is only about 4% of total usage. Uh, you know, People in California, I would say, probably shouldn't be watering their lawns, probably shouldn't be washing their cars or power hosing their houses, but they do. And and it's even so bad that in some areas it's ordinance that they have a green lawn, like a housing association have to have a pristine lawn, clean cars, clean house, all this stuff, and it's pretty ridiculous when you are forced by law to waste water. So that definitely needs to change. But the problem isn't just on a personal level either. Definitely not. Um, at such a small percentage of total use, it's definitely not a problem. And, people should be more conservative with their water usage in California. I don't think a lot of people will argue with that. Some will, and they'll say, "Well, it's a free country. I can use the water." Well, that's not true because water is a natural resource that belongs to everyone. And when all the water gets diverted from other areas, it's kind of an infringement issue because you're taking water that would go to a different place naturally, and you're putting it in here for your own personal use or personal gain, what have you. So that if you suck up all the water and nobody else has any water, that is infringing on somebody else's right to have water. And everybody has a right to water. I'm sorry, that's just the way it goes. But we all have to take care of it as a group. And if we don't, then everybody suffers. And a lot of people are not going to want to talk about this, but California should not be used as nationwide production of food. It's unsustainable for the people of California. It is totally unsustainable for the people of California. They have to stop producing food for the rest of the nation. The only food production that should be going on in California is the food production necessary to feed the people in California for their own consumption. It's the only way that they're going to be able to get past the water crisis. That's the only way. To do anything else is to be completely and totally oblivious to what is totally obvious when it comes to this water shortage. Now, I know people are going to say, but this is going to put Californians out of work. But the truth is that large agricultural farms that are unsustainable and try to provide food for the entire nation has never produced many good paying jobs. Sure, truck drivers are going to have less goods to haul. I'm sure a bunch of CEOs are going to take a hit and some other administrative people. But the majority of jobs that big agribusiness produces are on the lower end. And most of those don't even pay minimum wage. And then when you take those into account, many of those jobs that are produced by big agricultural business aren't even going to American citizens. They're going to illegal immigrants because they can pay illegal immigrants next to nothing to farm. And there are even bills out there that allow farms to pay horrible, horrible commission rates for a per bundle of tomatoes picked or whatever. And these things, when you even them out, I mean, the amount of money that these people make is very, 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 very low, and not sustainable for them even. So for that reason alone, we shouldn't worry about the jobs too much, because this is food we're talking about. Their profit should be a secondary reason for producing food. The primary reason for producing food is to feed people. The point here is to make life in California livable. Without water, nobody can live in California. And would you rather, millions of people have to move eastward, or would you rather them stop farming on an industrial scale in an area where it's not natural to farm those things? I think the choice is obvious. Stop farming for the nation from California. California can lower its water usage tremendously if they would focus on localized farming. I can go to my backyard, till up an area, work the soil, and produce enough food to last myself, my family, and my neighbors for a year for just one harvest. I don't even own an acre of land, but I can produce a lot of food in the space that I have. Be chickens, tomatoes, potatoes, asparagus, lettuce, onions, green beans, and many other vegetables. And it doesn't really take a whole lot of work to do all of it. If California were to focus on that type of mentality instead of worrying about how much money they can make, or at least the businesses worrying about how much money they can make by selling, their stuff to the national market, everybody would be better off in the long run, because they would use only the water necessary to feed the people in the area. That's what their focus needs to be on. It seems like a drastic change, maybe to some, but it really isn't. And it makes a hell of a lot more sense than to go around trying to feed the entire world off of an unnatural irrigation system, hell bent on stealing water from one area to send it to another area. So, to me, this is the only real way to fix the problem. I've read that they only have 1.5 years left, like I said earlier, before they're out of water. Not watering their lawns, cleaning their vehicles, or take showers less often isn't going to fix it. It's not. It's going to take a big change, and with this change, it can be easily done. I suggest that everybody, especially Californians, get behind this kind of mentality, because the alternative is to either move or die of thirst. And it really is sad that the big, agricultural industry has put profits in front of the needs of local Californians. Because if you think about it, they are nationwide or global, those big agribusinesses. They don't care about Californians. They have no stake in California. They have no stake in the people in California. But your neighbor does. Your neighbor's neighbor does. Your governor might. So everybody needs to start focusing more locally. And I know in recent years there's been a huge boom in the local food industry. Unfortunately, the feds have been tackling that, because we've got agribusiness lobbying the hell out of our government, California's government, local government, state government, both, all of them, federal, everything. They lobby and lobby and lobby until the FDA passes laws that will shut these small local grows down. They'll go in and raid this, a store that's selling locally grown stuff, because it cuts into the profits. So that's where the focus needs to be, and that's how Californians are going to fix it. If you agree, leave a message, please. We'll see you later.